Welcome to episode 62. I am your host, Gail M. Davis, and this is Design Perspectives. Welcome to the Design Perspectives podcast. I am your host, Gail Davis. I will talk all things design, from expectation to reality, from what to expect when working with designers as well as the trades. And from time to time, current events will seep their way into the conversation. In the meantime, sit back, relax, and listen. So, can I just tell you that when I got an email from this guest team, I nearly fell off my chair. Like I had to reread it several times because I was like, wait. They want to do a podcast interview with me? I was blown away. Jean Brownhill is the founder and CEO of Sweeten. After earning an architecture degree at the Cooper Union, Jean spent a decade working in architecture and construction. Her own challenging renovation inspired her to transform the opaque construction industry and create the first modern renovation experience that is transparent, efficient, and personal. We can all understand that. Sweeten, as in Home Sweet Home, launched in 2011. Today, Sweeten has nearly 1.5 billion of construction projects in the pipeline. How insane is that? The two-sided marketplace brings trust, transparency, technology to a $400 billion industry, creating the end-to-end standard for the renovation experience. Sweeten has been called a renovation game changer, with Jean hailed as the contract whisperer by New York Magazine and one of Inc.'s magazine's most innovative women founders in America. Jean is a Loeb Fellow from Harvard University's Graduate School of Design, where she co-founded the African American Student Union, an organization supporting African Americans in architecture, real estate, and urban planning. As a member of the 2018 class of Henry Crown Fellows at the Aspen Institute, she recently launched SAW, Sweeten Accelerator for Women, to help female contractors build their businesses. Most recently, Jean was recognized by Goldman Sachs as one of the 100 most intriguing entrepreneurs of 2020 at its Builders and Innovators Summit. Okay, so I am just all over the place because she is a big deal. And more importantly, at least for me and for others, she's a sister. It's a woman of color who has dotted her I's, crossed her T's, and once again ran with, I'm pretty sure, like her parents must have said to her too, you have to be 10 times better. Well, sister's more than 10 times better. She's 1,000 times better than the people that are, vying for the same position. I'm just excited. This is really a big deal. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Please follow Sweeten on Instagram at Sweeten_home. Just really a dynamic woman. She has so much going on, and I'm just a fan. What can I say? Without further ado, here's Jean. Hey, Jean, thank you so much for coming on. I'm having a super fangirl moment right now.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
So, okay, I am excited to have this conversation with you. First of all, I found out about you watching Open House a couple of years ago and how your commercials would come up. And I was like, wow, that's such a smart idea. And especially living in the city and just doing construction, which is a different animal than doing construction in the suburbs because of all the rules and regulations that you have to deal with a building or, in general. So tell me, I know your company, it seems to me, started from a pain point from when you did your own renovation. Tell me how this all came about and how this all happened.
Well, thank you for reminding me about that Open House commercial. That thing played so much. I was so happy that I got proper hair and makeup. we forgot about that. We're not airing that commercial anymore. But yes, that was a very successful piece for us. And yes, so Sweeten was in fact born out of my own home renovation. I was an architect by training. I went to architecture school here in New York City. I went to Cooper Union, worked in the industry for many, many years. And I bought a house in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, was super excited to renovate it. Having been in the industry and renovated all these other homes, I thought this is going to be a piece of cake. Well, of course, every designer, interior designer, architect knows that when you do your own project,
yeah,
it's so different. So different. Not to mention the fact that I did not have a multi-million-dollar budget. I had worked very hard to save money to buy a house and worked very hard to get additional capital to be able to renovate it. And I ended up hiring the wrong general contractor. And, I say that as it sounds. I blame the general contractor to some extent, but I really think of it now as my own mistake that I hired the wrong general contractor. I had the information about his firm and I took a gamble based on price and paid the consequences. In fact, I remember so vividly walking in and we were moving the interior stair. So the stair was gone and there's this big gaping hole in the living room. And I look up at it and, and I'd been on many, many job sites at this point and seen many stairs being moved. And for some reason, just the hole in the ceiling looked super janky. And it just did not look right. And I look up and I'm like, oh my God, Cannon. His name was Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Cannon, you've moved interior stairs before, right? And he looked at me and was just like, oh, no.
And I'm sure he was just like, no. And you're like, oh my God.
I just was like, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare. And so, in that moment, three things became very clear to me. One, I myself was going to have a terrible renovation, which I did. It was way over budget, cost me a bunch of time and money and energy and angst. Number two, that other homeowners must be having the same challenge, right? If I'm in the industry and having the challenge of hiring the wrong professional, then obviously other homeowners must. And lastly, that as a small business owner, this general contractor was doing himself such a disservice.
Yes.
This was a terrible way for him to try to grow his business. He had taken on a project that he knew he was not capable of doing in hopes of expanding his repertoire into residential, and that he would maybe get, a profitable project and a good referral. None of those things happened for him as he tried to grow his business. And so that's really, where Sweeten was born out of. We help homeowners connect to the right general contractor for their home renovation project. We do that by having a curated list of general contractors that we then, facilitate a match. So you'll come to our site, you post your project, we give you a short list of 3 to 5 firms that we believe are the right fit for your project based on your scope, budget, location.
Mm-hmm.
You meet with them, you have a site visit with each one of them, you receive an itemized estimate. When you award your project, we will actually transact your entire renovation on our platform. So all the milestones, the payments, the communications can go through our platform. And we offer you an additional $50,000 of loss protection for your project. So I really believe in a true end-to-end solution that's necessary for both the homeowners to have a great experience and also for the general contractors to be able to grow their businesses, to be able to make them both productive and profitable. We really do have a win-win business model. I know a lot of people say it, but we really feel like we do.
No, well, that makes sense. And it's funny, businesses normally for entrepreneurs come out of something that they have personally experienced. And it just makes you go, okay, I'm going to be wiser. So when you realize that this job was too big for him, are you like most people? Did you keep him on and guide him? Or were you like, let me get someone else in here?
Yeah. So I ended up working with him almost till the end, and then it just became clear that it would just be easier for me to hire the subs and manage the subs directly. So I did guide him up until, like, I would say, like the very, very last parts of the finish work. It just became clear that he was not going to be able to achieve the finish levels that I was hoping for. So
no,
that's when we parted ways.
And I don't mean to laugh because I just had my own experience with an electrician who I was trying to bring on, and it just was a disaster. And here's the other thing that's funny. When working with clients and you're saying you need a contractor and you're explaining to them, the scope of work and what needs to be done, it's so funny that people always seem to go with the person that's the cheapest. And then you have to explain to them why that's not a rule of thumb that you should be going by. Because they always think they're going to save money. And I was like, that's probably the one you're going to spend the most money with.
Yeah, one of the things that we really try to do is make it clear. We have a bid leveling call with each one of our homeowners where we really help them to understand the options that they have before them. And oftentimes going with the lowest bid is fine. It's fine as long as you are clear about the trade-offs that you are making as far as the level of either customer service, support, documentation, or possibly even finish level. So as long as people are clear that there are trade-offs, that this is not a commodity, this is not like the same price for the exact same service, the exact same finished product, then it's fine. But I think what people get really, and it's not their fault. There's so much misinformation about construction.
Oh, 100.
It's not their fault.
Right.
But it's not a commodity. It's not like you go to a store and you see a skirt and you see that exact same skirt online for cheaper. That's the same skirt, but at a cheaper price. When you are looking at estimates of construction work, those price differences are related to a reduction of some kind of scope or some kind of service or some kind of quality or craft level. Like, it is not the same thing you're buying.
Right. And do they get that when you're having the conversation? I mean, like your business really has, I'm sure, saved people thousands, if not millions of dollars. Is this just for residential or do you do commercial as well?
Yeah, so we do commercial. We mostly do small commercial projects. So we've done bars and restaurants and laundromats and smoothie bars and dog walking places. We actually did a bar / laundromat. Of course, it was in Brooklyn.
Of course. But I love the concept, bar and laundry. Of course, that's what you should be doing.
And we're now in the top 10 cities. So I'm excited to see, what our new small business owners and, Nashville and Houston are going to bring to the table as well.
Wow. So how has COVID, if at all, affected your business? I know for me as a designer, it just blew up and this is the busiest I have ever been. And I'm just trying to make sure I'm focused. How has COVID been for your business?
Well, yes, it is very busy now, but talk to me last March or April. And, we have an online platform, but we facilitate an offline transaction. And so last year when there were stay in place orders, that meant that construction in the major cities that we're in came to a grinding halt. Now, obviously, our main priority was keeping our general contractors safe, our homeowners safe. Right. In fact, we even implemented a third-party video conferencing into our platform to really encourage people to have virtual site visits instead of real site visits. But yes, it came to a grinding halt. Mm-hmm. Now, we are busier than ever because everyone is realizing that, we're going to be home more no matter what. And so people are looking at In LA, we're doing a bunch of ADUs where people are turning their garages into, offices now. But when the pandemic is over, they're planning to rent them out as Airbnbs.
Nice.
We're doing basements and attics and, turning second bedrooms into home offices or basements into playrooms. So we're definitely seeing a real reimagining of what kind of the programmatic functions of home can be or need to be really in this moment.
Right. I'm sure you're doing a lot of Zoom rooms. That's what I've been getting requests for as well.
Yes. And it's just so, I kind of, I don't know. I don't know if I loved or hated, but I watched in kind of like disbelief as architecture became Instagram moments all sewed together.
Right.
Like when you think about, like the ice cream museum and all these spaces that were literally designed, like how will this look in 2D, not necessarily prioritizing the 3D experience.
Right.
And now all of us have to do that because all are in 2D all the time.
Yeah.
So the Zoom room is here to stay.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to go back to I think normal as what people keep deeming it. I think the Zoom room is going to be here to stay, but I also feel like for the next couple of years, people are really going to invest in their homes because now they realize when you can't travel, instead of spending all that money on travel, it's like, I really need to make my house an amazing place to be, my space to be amazing. And I want to live here and have, make it make sense and have pretty things around me as well. It's just really funny to watch this. How did you get this business started? You did, because I know you bootstrap, but it's also there was seed money. No?
Yes to both. So
Okay.
I started it in that same home in Bed-Stuy in one of the bedrooms.
Which would now be an office.
yes, which was then an office as well. And bootstrapped it using my own money, my 401k, all the things that I do not recommend people to do.
Yes. So you said 401k. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. That paid for my education.
Yeah, but it's so funny. I thought I was so grown. You could not tell me anything. Anyway. And then, yes, I'm very fortunate to be one of a growing number of African-American women who have been able to raise venture capital. So we've raised about $20 million at this point, which I'm very proud of. And, we see a really clear path to a big business that can help, what we're helping thousands of people now. We want to help millions of people.
That is amazing. So what is it like when you step into a room to discuss this business and say at that time that you needed to raise money? What were the pushbacks that you got from people? What were the challenges? If there were.
Yes. Well, yes. you know there were.
I know. I'm just trying to pretend like I don't, I'm just acting like I don't know what we're talking about here.
Yeah. So, and I'll say that, walking into raise venture capital or walking into, an event with our general contractors, I often get people surprised that I am the founder and CEO of this company. In fact,
you mean you weren't the assistant? You weren't the the secretary? You were the actual person?
Yes, and I'll tell you this one story, and they become great partners of Sweeten, and so I won't use any names.
No.
But we do or did, now that we're no longer having. In fact, it was the last event right before shelter in place went into effect. So in the first week of March, we hold awards for our general contractors. So they're called the Sweeties, like after our name, Sweeten.
Right.
And we award not just our top performing general contractors on a quantity or dollar amount, but also just general contractors that have, gone above and beyond in a number of different ways. So I'll give you just a brief example. We had a general contractor win a Sweetie Award for, he had four, now I'm forgetting if it was 4 or 5. Anyway, 4 or 5 pregnant women as clients at the same time, all of them from Sweden.
Oh my God.
And so we gave him the timeline award. Because he had some very tight timelines. So anyway, it's a great event. It's really fun. We have musicians and bands and mind readers. It's a really fun event. We really try to highlight and celebrate our general contractors because they don't get a lot of love, and we really respect them as business owners and just appreciate them as partners. So we have this award ceremony at the end. I get up and I say, thank you. I'm the founder and CEO of Sweeten. Thank you. Get off the stage. And this general contractor came up to me. It was his first event. And he literally just kept saying, you're the founder and CEO. You weren't reading for someone else. The founder and CEO couldn't make it, and you stepped in. And I'm I am her. She is me.
We are one.
We are one. The guy's head just could not compute. And I don't know if maybe he thought Jean Brownhill was maybe a French man. I don't know. I don't know what he thought. But I'll tell you, his mind was blown. And I can appreciate that there have been very few women of color in construction.
Right.
There have been very few women of color in venture capital circles. And I can appreciate that it might be new to them, but I would hope that people can very quickly appreciate the business that I've built, the company, the partners. I mean, and I say this, we as collectively the team at Sweeten, we've built something really special. And I just want people to move past there's no pattern recognition here, and look at what we've built.
Right.
And especially in venture capital, where they talk so much about it being a meritocracy and it's all about data and we're making data-driven decisions. It's no, you guys aren't.
Yeah. I know you want to use that as your MO, but not really, guys. Yeah. This is not my first rodeo.
Exactly. And so I think of, being an entrepreneur, and you asked me about the challenges. Being an entrepreneur is challenging for everyone.
True.
Full stop. When you look at the numbers, most businesses don't make it. It's just challenging for everyone. Do I have additional challenges being a woman and being an African American? Yes. But I think that the beauty of choosing to be an entrepreneur is accepting that you are going to have to figure out how to overcome those challenges. That's kind of the job.
True. I think that, if I could just interject there, I think that also stems from how we are raised, where our parents have already instilled that in us. At least I can say for me, but I feel like I can speak for all people of color. You know what it's like, where they're you're going to have to be 10 times better. And you're going to have to just maneuver around it. And even though, like you said, that you got off the stage and the man was like, wait, you're the person. You knew exactly what he was saying, but you have to laugh it off and be like, yes. And just be kind about it, or, stern, and just move on, because that's what it is for people of color. We just have to move on. We already know the obstacles. We can't be oh, this is, they're never going to, work with me. You just have to be well, they're going to work with me. I mean, that's just what it is. We're going to get around this. We're going to get to the other side. And you just can't really sit there and stew in people's non-belief, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So. Well, and, I don't know, at the end of cast, the book written by Isabel Wilkerson.
I am trying to get through that. It is so intense.
It's so intense. It's so intense. It's so intense. It's so good.
It's really good.
I recommend it to everyone.
Yes.
It is such a needed reframing of the problem.
Yes. Yeah.
But at the end of that book, she talks about going to lunch with a white colleague, and she gets they get very poor service at the restaurant, and her colleague, really just flips out and calls the waiter racist, and just like really flips out. And what I thought was really interesting is Isabel Wilkerson. She talks about the fact that like she would never even think to do that, because if she flipped out over every single microaggression, she would just be flipping out all day.
Exactly.
and she said, part of her was angry at the fact that just in the ability to react, like the woman that she was having lunch with had a moment of expressing her anger,
yes,
which was also a reflection of her privilege.
Yes.
Right? Because if I freaked out every time, I'd get nowhere.
We already get the trope of angry Black woman without even saying anything. That it's just an automatic. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think, and as I said, this firm has become a great partner of Sweeten, and I think one of the things that I'm really passionate about is, and you had asked about how do we bring more women into construction. I'm really passionate about using the platform that I have through Sweeten to bring more women and more people of color into construction, and specifically the profession of general contracting. I think it is an incredible opportunity to be a small business owner. It has flexible hours. To be a great general contractor, in fact, includes much more communication, documentation, logistics, and management than it does swinging an actual hammer. And so I'm really excited to be able to have programs. We have a program at Sweeten called SAW, SAW, Sweeten Accelerates Women, where we help promote women general contractors on our platform. We've got, a big project launching very soon that I'd love to come back and talk to you about, where we really want to get some key partners involved in getting more minority general contractors. Construction is just one of many industries that have not had a lot of women or people of color in. And so I'm just really excited to be able to make this a much bigger tent and have many more people involved in it, because it's strange. I would have never, ever, I went to architecture school. I thought I was going to be an architect. I had that very obnoxious architecture mentality of the construction is whatever, that's just the doing. And I really have grown to appreciate and love it, and think that it's just such a wonderful profession. And I want more women. And by the way, so many women that went to architecture school and interior design school are acting as the general contractor on a lot of their projects.
Yes.
They're just not getting paid for it.
Yep. 100. Well, that's a whole nother discussion. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. And yes, you will be back. So please tell the people where they can find you.
So we are on Instagram, Sweeten_home. So come check us out. We've got lots of content there, before and afters. We also have a great blog that gives a lot of process guides, pricing guides, and all the 10 cities that we're in, and some just really beautiful, before and afters. Who doesn't love a before and after?
This is true. Well, thank you so much, Jean. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
Thank you for listening to the Design Perspectives podcast. As always, I'm your host, Gail M. Davis. I really appreciate you listening. Please don't forget to rate me on iTunes. It is super important and will help people to find where we are located. And The Design Perspectives podcast is also available on Design Network platform. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day.